Pride and Prejudice. And when we were given this assignment, or this idea, we started to think of that movie and the book Pride and Prejudice, of course, because you always hear about that. And with Reverend Joseph's service last week, we understood more. Pride is something that we don't want to say it plagues us in our life, but it is something that is there without perhaps us realizing that it's there, and what it is, and the effect that it's having on our soul and on our spiritual path. Pride is this feeling that you are really proud of something that you've done. You could have pride in your family and who you are, all these various items. So what does this have to do with our spirituality? And how does pride impact our spirituality and how we develop in God in love? Pride is a limitation. It limits us from being free. For pride, we are to look at what do we have pride in our lives internally. So, do you have pride in your family and who you are? Do you have pride in your education? Do you have pride in your bank account? Do you have pride in your spirituality? We can go through an inventory and look at, what am I proud of? What do I want a pat on the back for? And in the midst of this, we'd like to talk about dispassion. As a yoga student, we learned about dispassion. And dispassion is this middle line. There is no joy, there is no sorrow. It's all one. We are not rocked by anything. Any emotion can't pull us off our spiritual path. And we thought that this dispassion was so cold and so unfeeling, so unloving, just being there. So what does this have to do with pride? When we graduate college, when we have some kind of accomplishment, when we do our practices every day and feel proud of ourselves, when we're proud of our religion only, when we're proud of our spouse or our children, what is this doing to us spiritually? It's keeping us in the lower realities. And Reverend Tara has been teaching us about moving up into the higher realities and clearing our chakras and our new human. And she's been teaching us about the victor and the the winner and the loser. I forgot the victor and the non-victor, the winner and the loser. So how does pride come into this? If I am so proud of my education, for example, what does that create? It creates this world of duality. Although I might not say people without an education are less than me because I'm so proud of my education, subconsciously and energetically, that's the energy that I'm putting out into the universe. And here we have the prejudice. And it's so it can be so unconscious. And this is the world of duality. I have my education. I'm proud of my education. This person doesn't value education and doesn't have an education. Therefore, they're not like me. They're not as good. We are not all one. We are not unified in God as brothers and sisters. Realizing our pride is not easy. We are so comfortable in this third dimension, in the duality. We think we're comfortable, but we're not. It's just what we're used to. It's our habit of mind. It's our habit of being. I'm proud of my family. Therefore, those who don't have a family like mine, though I'm not saying that, I'm actually being prejudiced against others. Why is it to be prideful in my family, but not in the family? All of the family. It's limiting. If I'm proud of my bank account and my ability to save money and my financial success, what am I doing? I'm actually separating from those who feel that they don't need to save money, that they can spend the money they have. So not only am I in the world of duality with pride, I'm creating the world of duality, pride and prejudice. There's been a lot of conversation throughout time about, not just now, but about racism and prejudice. Some of it is we feel it's so obvious. It's so out there in front of you, in front of us. So it's not just one thing. And it really, again, is starting here. We are the creators of that. We are creating that separation, that duality. And it's hard because we're used to it, like, I'm proud of this. You know, I want to be proud of myself. Maybe we beat ourselves down so much, so then you want to be proud of yourself. It's still creating that duality. So what can we do? This is where we're asked to rise up into the heart chakra. And this is where the dispassion comes back in. The dispassion is actually the greatest form of love and freedom. It asks us to step into a new paradigm of being. This paradigm of being is a shift, and it helps us to shift away from dualistic thinking. I'm better than them. I'm proud of myself in this, therefore they're not as good. And even taking that to an internal level. And this is where the beating up can be released and ended. I am proud, I want to be proud of my education. For example, I want to be proud of my education. Therefore, if I'm unable or it's not in the universal plan, or if I'm trying to force it and I'm not doing what I want to do, I'm creating this internal resistance, this internal battle of, well, it should be like this, but I'm unable to do that. So therefore, I'm not good enough. And this is the internal struggle right now that is just being cleared out. There is no, it's time for us to move forward into this freedom, and it's a peace. It's like breaking a bad habit. We are told and taught through all scripture to trust in God, trust in the universe. When we step out of this this duality, this I need to do this to be proud, and if they're not doing that, I'm prejudiced against them, or if I'm not doing that, I'm not worthwhile. I treat myself lesser than because I'm not getting it done the way I think it should be. By moving up into the heart, we're releasing all of that. We become manifestors of God's plan. And we wanted to briefly talk about choice. Because we hear make the million right choices. And then we go, oh, choices, so many choices. Which is true. But at the same time, how does this relate? There's a lineage, like not a lineage, but there's great manifestors that have been here on the planet or are still here. And one of the things that is taught about making wise choices, in a way, is to save your choice energy. What are we making choices about? And how are the choices made? For example, they say Steve Jobs had the same clothes. And I think the Facebook CEO has the same clothes. They wear the same clothes every day. They said if you look in their closet, it's all like black shirts and jeans. They are saving, that's one example of saving their energy for the choices that really are going to be making a difference in their lives. The judgment is wiped away. The choice making becomes very creative. Pride is a judgment. Prejudice is a judgment. It's the dual judgments. And it's something energetically that we can let go of to provide space and energy for these more creative decision-making processes that come out of love, out of the heart, out of the middle road. We walk along, and then if we have to make a choice, we have the energy and the insight and the peace to make the right decision. So deciding what you're going to wear is like an outer choice, right? Well, some people love clothing, so you know, you have to choose what you're going to wear, but that's just one example. So we make choices every day in what we're going to be proud of. Typically, it's a conscious decision to be proud of it. It takes energy. So I'm going to be proud of how I did my hair, or I'm going to be proud of my grade that I got, or my script that I wrote. We don't even have to do that. We start comparing, and this is the internal battle. Well, my script is better than Steven Spielberg's script. I know he's not but we start comparing. Well, this is going to be as good as When Harry Met Sally. Look at this energy that's being used and how it's being used. The pride and the prejudice, the judgment, can be completely, cleared away through practice and through doing our practices. We can move up into our heart space where you write your script, you love your script, it's your creation. You can love it, just as you love all scripts. And then that's it. Start sending it out. A lot of the mental here at the will chakra, mental energy can be lifted up into the heart, releasing that stuck like energy, the wheel going around and around here. And the creative decision making, the creative abilities can flow freely, giving us a sense of peace, helping us to reach the peace, helping us to move into this true spirituality, into being a man, expressing our true manifestation of God as manifestors of God in His plan. So we thank our teacher so much for helping us little by little to understand not only what we're doing to ourselves, but because we're doing it to ourselves, we're also doing it to others. We're prejudiced against others and we don't even realize it. And it's the judgment. And it's because we pride ourselves on this internally. We have our pride in this. Therefore, if people aren't doing it with this great pride that we have, they're not good enough. They're doing it wrong. We have the choice to eliminate all of that and move up into the heart. And to really embrace our co-creation with God and truly love one another. Like all one. And then continue up into the peace, into the spirituality, becoming a great magnet. And the will of God and the channel flows. And there's no internal struggle. So we're getting there. Everybody keep up your practices. We keep up our practices, and that concludes our discourse for today.